Disturbing facts that will probably disturb you even if you're not easily disturbed. Part 62. A 1-year-old girl who absorbed her twin in the womb recently underwent surgery to have the fetus removed from her brain. Trigger warning, because I'm gonna show it. It almost looks like a little baby, like hippopotamus. The sound made by the Krakatoa volcanic eruption in 1883 was so loud that it ruptured the eardrums of people 40 miles away, traveled around the world 4 times, and was clearly heard 3,000 miles away. That's like you standing in New York and hearing a sound from San Francisco. If you do not repost this video, I'm going to scream so loud that even if you are standing in New York, you will hear it in San Francisco. And I'm in Texas, so that's like a lot of range. Just repost for the sake of your eardrums. Your brain itself does not feel pain because it does not have pain receptors. It just sends pain signals to other parts of your body. That's why patients are sometimes awake during brain surgery, also known as an awake craniotomy, to help surgeons identify and avoid damaging areas of the brain that control critical functions like speech, language, and movement. I'm pretty sure it was on an episode of Grey's Anatomy, pretty sure it was on an episode of House. They'll be like in their brain, like Hannibal Lecter style, and they'll be like asking them questions while they poke and prod around in there. It's to make sure they don't damage something vital. So they keep them talking to make sure that they continue to be able to talk. Speaking of receptors, did you know that we do not have a receptor in our skin for wetness? Wetness is a sensation that our brain picks up from other cues, such as temperature and touch. That's why sometimes you can't tell if something is wet or just cold. According to recent genetic studies, about 900,000 years ago, the human population likely dropped to a critical low of about 1,280 breeding individuals, putting our ancestors on the brink of extinction. This means that at one point, the effective human population was essentially between 1,000 and 10,000 individuals. To put that in perspective, the world population right now is about 8.2 billion, or like what Elon Musk makes in a year in dollars. The average adult human brain has the ability to store the equivalent of 2.5 million gigabytes digital memory. So to put that into perspective, 2.5 million gigabytes is about 780 million songs, or about 3 million hours of video. The brain is a very powerful thing, and I just use it to memorize disturbing facts and early 2000s emo song lyrics. You could say that I'm more than you bargained for. Daniel von Bargen, who was known for his roles in Seinfeld as Mr. Kruger and was in The Faculty as Mr. John Tate, which is one of the best movies of all time if you haven't seen it, tried to end his own life when he found out that he would have to have several toes amputated due to complications with his diabetes. Daniel survived the attempt and called 911 with a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the temple. He went on to live another 3 years. You can listen to the 911 call. I'm going to put the link in the description. It is super unsettling how freaking calm that man is. Listen at your own risk. In 1995, 7 children died in a bus crash in Fox River, Illinois, when a substitute driver stopped with the back part of the bus still on the train tracks. The children were screaming for her to move ahead, but she got confused and a train hit the bus at 60 miles an hour. I bet she was super overstimulated. A substitute bus driver, she didn't know what she was getting herself into. I guarantee you, she got overstimulated and she was just like, you know what, fuck it. We're all going out. On June 27, 2015, a dust fire occurred at Formosa Fun Coast, which was a water park in Bali. Staff of an outdoor color powder party sprayed clouds of cornstarch towards the participants, which then ignited. The fire only lasted for 40 seconds, but it burned 508 people, killed at least 15 people, and left 200 in critical condition. That's what happens when you try to break out of your shell, go out, do things. We're gonna go to this water park, fun little color powder party. You're dead. Zachary Porter, who was 20 years old, was vacationing in Alaska with some of his friends when he got stuck waist deep in a mud flat during low tide. He was unable to free himself and drowned when high tide came in. I was doing a little bit of research on it, and those mud flats can quickly turn into quicksand. That was my biggest fear when I was a kid, was quicksand. But I'm not going to go to Alaska. Henry Sibiak was a man that was killed on the streets of Brooklyn shortly before midnight on September 11th, 2001. Since Sibiak was not robbed, wore camouflage clothing, and spoke poor English with a very heavy accent, detectives have speculated that his killer may have thought that he had something to do with the attacks. Sibiak's homicide is the only one recorded in New York City on September 11th, 2001, since the city does not include the deaths from the attacks in its official crime statistics. His murder has never been solved. Do you really think that the person responsible for that kind of gigantic attack would then just be bebopping around the streets of Brooklyn, no schlaboggle? No. Mount Vesuvius is still active, having had 4 to 6 relatively severe eruptions every century for the past 500 years. It's also the world's most densely populated volcanic region, with 3 million people living nearby and at least 600,000 people right in the danger zone. The last eruption was in 1944, and we are long overdue for another one. Why would you want to live near a volcano? It's not going to kill me by melting my eyeballs while I'm still alive. Okay? Thanks for watching.